Internal Affairs, Operation Ballroom. I can't tell you my name for obvious reasons. If you're NIA, you're tough. Internal Affairs. Not bar fight tough, though you could handle a bar fight. Tough enough to walk away from a bar fight, even if you had good reason to stay. And I had a lot of good reasons. There was a dirty cop suspected of protecting a Miami pipeline for meth and worse. I was pulled out of undercover drug enforcement, narcs. I was good at blending in, and that's what was needed here. This one dealer was a dandy. I was assigned to him. It's a little hard to go undercover against a dandy. They are accustomed to judging a man by his dress. You got to be good to fake being a dandy. But I was good. The dandy had a weakness, a girlfriend. That was a weakness I didn't have. The dandy was into drugs and guns. The girlfriend was into ballroom dancing. I was into retribution. And I had always been light on my feet. When the dandy and the girl started waltzing at a dance studio on 35th Street, I signed up. I was assigned a lovely lady dance pro who had excellent tutorial skills and posture. One of the great things about ballroom dance is that it draws the men together. The assumption is that men don't want to be there. For the women, it is the key to life everlasting, joy eternal, affirmation without end. Men don't really have to do much more than dress the part, don the special shoes, hold up a defendable arm so that the ladies can spin. In that process, the men are drawn together. They nod at each other in mutual understanding as the couples are on the dance floor. A slight brushing or even a mild collision is laughed off that might have led to decades of gangland warfare if it had happened in the street. The man versus man shields are down. The dandy and I developed a nodding intimacy while practicing the Lambeth walk. Only this time I was the snake. At first I couldn't figure out when the dandy had time to run his operation. He was at the dance studio 3 nights a week. By the time we got to the Viennese waltz and the silver level for American Smooth, we were traveling to Atlantic City and Mohonk to dance competitions, and I was spending more time with this dealer dancer and my dance pro than I ever did with my partner when I was back in uniform. I was in the Pro-Am division. My lady pro had no idea of my true identity. Dandy and girl were in the couples division, 2 amateurs, but we practiced in the same studio, and we were often together at competitions, ideal for getting to know the man's habits and characteristics. I had to assume the guy could get pretty much whatever he wanted at Harrah's, but he seemed to be playing it straight in the dance world. His girlfriend had the most fantastic beaded tango dresses, but they never placed higher than second. I myself turned out to have quite a talent, particularly in the cha-cha, and had to hold us back so as not to attract undue attention. I think it pissed off my pro-girl partner. By the way, my expense vouchers, which had to be processed through secret channels downtown, were truly spectacular, probably unique in law enforcement. $1,200 for 6 undercover Paso Doble lessons. Who are we kidding here? It was actually at the Bellagio that I had my closest call. But it was also my biggest break. While on the floor executing a particularly elaborate rumba routine, I glanced at the gallery and saw the dandy and a cop I knew sitting side by side, pretending not to know each other. That was the connection. The risk was that the cop would know me by sight. He and I had worked together on a previous case on the Lower East Side. But I could tell he didn't make me. I was in only one of 8 couples on the floor, and, as the saying goes, no one is looking at the man. And that's when I learned how the money was passing. They were exchanging shoe bags. All ballroom dancers have a special bag for their felt-bottom shoes. All the bags look more or less the same. The ballroom had nothing to do with it. The goal of all U.S. dancers is the Ohio Star Ball Dance Championship in Columbus. If you're good enough and take enough lessons from coaches and judges, you will probably make it there eventually. I've got to say the dandy and his girlfriend had a pretty darn good East Coast swing and weren't half bad in foxtrot, particularly to Rat Pack and American Songbook type numbers. I actually began to feel a little bad about interrupting their progress and hoped the takedown wouldn't actually happen on a dance floor. If it did, I, for one, would favor letting them get their award before taking him away. I also came to regret that there would not be enough time to get further into the Latin syllabus, particularly the samba and the jive. Samba is at least as complicated as chess, and the jive rivals anything I ever mastered in Ranger School regarding weapons management. If precision pleases you, then adding those dances to tango will give you everything you can handle on the sometimes not-so-friendly battlefield of the ballroom. Oh, did I not mention? I'm on my way to the Empress Ballroom at Blackpool now at the Winter Gardens in the UK. Senior Gold Pro-Am Latin Division. I turned in my papers after the Dandy case. I heard that Dandy turned state's evidence and went undercover himself and brought down a major gun drone smuggler. Putting him out of action might actually have done some good. And one dirty cop had to retire to Florida. I don't think he ever even knew I was involved, since I never had to testify. My stuff was used to guide surveillance, which is where they gathered the evidence for prosecution. I never knew what I would do after I put in my 20 with the NYPD. Never really thought about it. Probably would have stayed on, fighting crime. But somehow, the dancing moderated the sense of avengement that had been driving me. And then it turns out I got married. To my dance pro. It happens. We already knew each other very, very well after all the lessons. They say if you can play mixed doubles tennis with a woman or compete in a ballroom dance competition with her without coming to blows, then go ahead and marry her. I have never discussed my surveillance work on Dandy with her. She just thinks of me as an excellent student who was drawn to the dance out of pure aesthetic sensibility.